What's up, everybody? It's the Flopbuster Movie Show live with Tony and Gabe. And tonight we are talking Wakanda Forever, which is a new release. It's very hot right now. It's the big Marvel movie opened this weekend. And Gabe and I had a chance to see it. And we're going to jump into all the spoilers because I feel like we're in okay territory here now. It's 3 days out. And we
It's
usually
three
do
days
it
out.
it's 3 days out. We did our Halloween one, I believe, on a Monday as well, if I remember correctly. I don't think we did it on a Sunday. Maybe we did. Might have been a Sunday. And we also did our Nope spoiler stream. But anyway, Gabe, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, man. Hopefully you're doing well as yourself.
I'm doing great. I'm feeling good. I enjoyed the movie. I really did. So I guess we'll start there. We'll give our general thoughts on what we thought of Wakanda Forever. But Gabe, I'll let you go first. What did you think of the movie?
I mean, I thought it was great. I mean, to be honest, it felt I did an amazing job doing trying to do the whole legacy for Chadwick Boseman, whatever I forget his for Chadwick. But at the same time, introducing Namor for me that was huge. Uh, and we'll get into Namor, but this movie just was just I don't know. It just hit all the right notes for me that I wanted to see for it.
Yeah,
So
I'm with you. I think it was an uphill battle. I think this is a movie that has been coated in controversy. Besides the death of Chadwick, that's just a tragic thing that happened that the production was hit with. But with the Letitia Wright stuff that was happening in the news and multiple reshoots and was it good? Is it not going to be good? Whatever. The good thing is that the movie turned out fantastic. This feels like a Ryan Coogler movie. His
right,
fingerprints are all over it, and I really, really enjoyed it. I think it's a very somber film. It's definitely about legacy and regret and redemption and all those wonderful things. And I thought it was great. And I think Namor is a huge highlight. We'll talk about Namor because he's way different than comic book Namor.
right.
But I think it's a really good change. It's a welcome change, and the cast is awesome across the board. They all bring something to it, especially Angela Bassett, which I thought was just a scene stealer to say the least.
Dude, if Angela Bassett does not get nominated for lead actress for at the Oscars, it would be a travesty. Her performance in this is really like in the first Black Panther. I wouldn't even say she was supporting. It was more like she has a nice little role, little cameo type
Right.
deal, right? Like a Forrest Whitaker's role, like sort of like off screen. She's not that important. That's her mom. That's the mom. That's all good, right? Um, sort of the way Rene Russo plays Thor's mom. Okay, that's the mom. She's in the scenes here and
Right.
there, but that's it. This movie, she is front and center above everything. Like
Right.
above, Letitia Wright's character on top of with Neymar. Like her name is like top billing for
Yeah. No, she is awesome. I think she was fantastic in this. Letitia Wright is very good in this, and I thought she brought something really emotional. And we start off, and I guess we could jump right into it. We start off with the opening sequence, and that the opening sequence is essentially T'Challa is dying, and Shuri wants to use the heart-shaped herb to um to revive him, to save him in some way, because they've relied upon that before. I mean, he used it to come back from the dead in the first movie. He's dying at an accelerated rate, obviously,
me. Right.
um, and he passes, and we get this
Right.
great MCU title sequence that's just silent, and we're able to appreciate Chadwick as an actor and everything that he's brought to the role, and other roles as well too. And it's a great sequence that they did there. Then we shoot to 1 year later, and 1 year later, Wakanda is under pressure to share vibranium with the whole world. France, notably, wants vibranium, but we find out at the same time uh, that while the queen is talking about, no, we're not going to share our vibranium with you because we're not the problem. We're scared of what you will do with it. Like, you are all the problem. We can have vibranium and we'll be perfectly fine. We will not be a danger to this world.
Right.
You will be, specifically France, which you find out has invaded one of their spots and attempts to steal some vibranium. We get a great action sequence there. At the same time, Shuri is hard at work. She's kind of given up on faith. Like she doesn't care about the religious aspects of their nation at this point because of
Right.
the
Her
loss of her brother.
the traditions.
The traditions.
She's all science.
She's very broken over this, so she puts her head into the science part of everything, which she's always been, big on, but now she's focusing 100% on that. Hard at work. Um, and there's no Black Panther to really save them. There's nobody to really protect them.
No.
Uh, so at the same time, Shuri, while she's doing her research on the herb, uh, her mom is hoping that she creates some kind of new Black Panther suit. She's really against the idea of it. But and again, Angela Bassett in these opening scenes, really, really good. And
Right.
the
Drives the performance
photography,
so well.
the performance is great, but the quieter moments with the burial, the photography feels like on set and real locations. I think everybody's been complaining lately that Marvel has been feeling very cookie cutter, and you could tell they're doing everything in post work and effects. The volume technology they use, where it's just green screen. Within Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Thor, we get a movie that has real sequences now with real sets, and it's a breath of fresh air. It doesn't feel, I don't know, fake and cartoony like the past few movies have in terms of their effects work. It's really good, and I feel like that was the right way to go with this movie. But I want to talk about this. So we get to our introduction of Namor, and it's different than the comic books. They're not even called Atlanteans in this. It's in the Atlantic Ocean, um, but they're the Talakan. Is that how you pronounce it, Talakan? Uh, but Namor is the king of this nation, and he
Right.
attacks the Navy SEALs. They're looking for vibranium, and it's almost like a horror movie the way it happens. It's really really cool, and the way they shoot Namor, he's in the shadows, he's moving around, he's up in the sky, he tears apart that helicopter and throws it into the ocean. Um, but the way they shoot him is much like a comic book frame. The way he's standing and everything, it's 100% Namor from the comic books. Even though he's different, this is a very different Namor, and I can't wait to talk about the origin story. But what did you think of the introduction of Namor? Because I thought it was chilling. It felt like the one part of this movie that almost felt like a horror movie.
Yeah, the siren singing, all fables across, all fables always talk about, you know, seamen, and I don't mean that in a funny way, but calling about how these mermaids would sing
Saying
and
to them,
lure men to them and stuff like that. So the way that they pitched that little soft singing by the sirens and just calling out everybody in the ship and everybody's just jumping overboard. It's just like you said, very chilling, very awesome. And then like you said, you got Namor up in the sky with the helicopter, just and very dark. Because I really, to be honest, I didn't really know that was Namor. I thought that was that other his like other henchman with the headdress.
so I want to bring that up because I've seen a lot of complaints online that this movie, everybody has been experiencing difficulties with their screenings of this movie being way too dark, the projection. I think this movie was exported in Dolby Vision, so I know those that have seen in Dolby don't have this complaint with HDR. If you watch it on non HDR screens, I'm pretty sure the exposure, everything's just way darker because you're meant to watch it in Dolby. But I didn't see that with my theater. But I've seen a lot of people complain that the projection was like incredibly dim.
Well, I
Which
watched it twice,
okay, so
so
you did see it in Dolby, didn't you?
I did see it. I
Okay,
did see it in Dolby.
was it better in Dolby? Did it look better?
It looked a little bit better. Obviously, it sounded great,
Right.
but I would say it looked a little bit better. But there were some parts where the darkness was just that darkness. I mean, you could see him, but if you didn't know it was Namor without, with the headdress on and stuff, then you thought it was his henchman, his right,
Right.
you know,
Right. It's a lot of it's due to the way the movie's shot. It's very natural in its colors and the lighting and stuff. It's going
right.
for a very grounded feel, but I'm with you. I think that opening with Namor was really, really cool. Um, but essentially, we get this. Um, Namor goes up to Shuri and the Queen, and he's able to bypass the Wakanda security. He's able to go right up to them. There's no way they would have detected
Bro, there's a common theme. You know, Mexicans cross countries borders without being
right.
detected.
But it shows that he is not. I mean, right there, subtly, it shows you like, oh, this is not somebody to fuck with because Wakanda is the most powerful nation on the planet, and they cannot. They didn't even know this guy just snuck right through, and he tells them this: "Hey, we have vibranium. You have vibranium. I have vibranium. Technically, we're kind of like allies." There's a scientist in America who has developed this machine to detect vibranium. Bring me the scientist. So Shuri knows that Namor wants the scientist. They got to get to the scientist before he does something, before he kills them, because he's
Right.
pretty much going to declare war on this on the surface. And he's done this in the comic books. He just hates humans. He he's always declared war. Besides stealing Mr. Fantastic's wife, uh,
Good for
the
him.
guy. What's up? He's going to do it. I think he's going to do it. It's very much a common thing in the comic books.
Well,
Um,
and before you get even further, just to like circle back a little bit to the beach because there was a funny line there, right? Where he's like, we need, we need to get together so they don't, take vibranium, and then she's like, well, we have it all. Like, why would we give you any? And then Shuri's like, Mom, have you seen him? He's covered in vibranium.
he's covered in vibranium. Yeah,
Right,
his armor. Um, so sure, okay. They go to the CIA agent who helped him in the first movie. Played by Martin Freeman. Let me just delete this comment real quick. Okay, so they go to the CIA agent that helped them. And they find out that the scientist in question is a MIT student going by Riri Williams.
right.
So they go to the university to confront her. Um,
Who's from Chicago, by the way?
she's from Chicago.
Like
She's
huge Chicago.
she's a teen, and I thought the handling of Riri in this is I don't think she was all that interesting. I think we'll learn more about her in her show. So I'm just counting in the show to deliver because they don't give her too much to do in this, even though she's the central sort of point of conflict with a lot of the things happening in this movie. But I thought she was really good. I thought the actress that played her did really, really well. And I was along with her humor and the things that they brought to that character. I
Right.
just hope in the show that they expand upon her a bit more, as opposed to America Chavez, which I thought was not really developed all that well in Doctor Strange. Really good role, but I feel like they did a little bit more with the character here. Um, but anyway, so they have this confrontation with her. She's got this great joke about ashy skin. It's a great line. Uh, but then the FBI corners them in this garage where she's working on her, pretty much her version of an Iron Man suit that she's been working on. She's incredibly
Right.
smart. She's been building this suit. There's this great action sequence with her in the suit up in the sky, the FBI chasing them. Shuri's on a motorcycle. And then we get to this confrontation with the Atlanteans and Shuri. And then this is where Oke and Namor's right hand man. I don't know if they give him a name. Do they give him a name? Uh,
I'm pretty sure they do, but his right hand man and his cousin Namora. His cousin is Namora. The female is Namora.
yes, yes. There. This is the fight in the bridge, and the fight in the bridge. I want to say is probably my favorite fight scene in this phase. I think it's the one of the most memorable ones because it's raw, it's like grounded, it's brutal. It's two warriors at like they are excellent warriors,
Right.
uh, just duking it out, and it is the sound design in this scene is awesome. I
It
thought this was a
sounded great
great,
in Dolby.
yeah. It's just a really well choreographed and filmed fight scene. Um, She's great in this movie, by the way. I'm blanking on her name. She's from The Walking Dead. What's her name? Denai Guerrero. Okay, Michonne. Yeah, Michonne is Denai Guerrero is awesome in these movies. She's awesome in everything. She played Tupac's mom. She was great in that movie too. Not a good movie, but she was great in it. Uh, she's great in this scene. She's a highlight of the movie for me too. I feel like they gave her a lot to handle in this, and she did
There's
it well.
so much emotional stuff with her. Um, my highlight's gonna be someone completely different, but yeah, there's so much
She's a good
emotional stuff.
crier. She's a really good crier. She does a
Right.
lot of crying.
There's a lot
Uh,
of heartbreak with her.
yeah, just a lot of heartbreak with her. She's got a lot to prove in this, and I thought her character arc was uh, perfect. I really really enjoyed it. Um, okay, so where are we at now? Okay, so Shuri is uh, she goes to Namor. They take Shuri and Riri, uh, and they go to where Namor is. Uh, she wants to protect Riri, obviously, because they want to kill
Right.
her. They want to kill the scientist that has built this vibranium detecting technology. At the same time, uh, the queen is so the queen is pissed at OK. Like really, I don't feel like it was warranted though, because she did her best to protect her. But I understand it wasn't warranted. But they do a great job of understanding where the queen is coming from because she's lost everything. And this is a riveting scene. And this
Right.
is what, like the Oscar.
This is her Oscar moment right
This is
here.
the Oscar moment right here. This is you see a little bit in the trailer, but it hits hard. And this is where the tears are flowing from Angela Bassett. Um, everybody. It's just a very emotional scene.
Right.
This is a downbeat movie. More so than any Marvel movie. This is a very downbeat and tragic feeling film. This is one of my favorite moments in the movie too, man. And you had a thought. I'll let you get to it because I said it. I feel like it was unwarranted the way she treated her, but I understand it. So, what's your point of view on that scene?
I, I, you sort of answered it in the sense where you got to see where she's coming from, as a mother, where she's
Yes,
coming from, and why it was warranted. And she's the queen, right? She's a ruler of the greatest country, on earth, and for her, she has to, as much as it hurts her, because it hurts her because she's been her right hand man through all this, or right hand woman through all this, and as much as it hurts her, she's like, she's like, my son died. You let somebody else take over the throne, and you
right.
protected him. And then I told you not to take my daughter on this mission, and you told me it was going to be okay, and it's not okay. And then Michonne's character, she comes back with like, I've given my life for all this. I would die for Wakanda. It's like, how much more can I give? She's like, I've given my entire family for this nation,
Right.
and it's just like heartbreaking. And
It's a heartbreaking moment.
yeah,
And she mentioned something from the first movie, which I don't even think about that much. A lot of the warriors in Wakanda kind of just stood by and let Killmonger take the throne. They're like, "Oh, he beat him in combat." Like, all right, I guess this is the guy.
right.
Like,
I
what
mean,
can you do?
I watched Black Panther like the day before I went to go see it on Thursday. So I watched Black Panther on Wednesday. And yes, they did. But they told him, right? They told her, like, or the warriors are like, they're just gonna let him take the throne. They're like, it's our tradition. He
Yes,
beat him in combat.
it's
It's
a
our
major theme of these movies is tradition.
it's tradition,
Yeah.
and so they're like, yeah, sorry, we have to, we're gonna stand by his side. It's our tradition.
Mhm.
We understand y'all love, Chadwick, T'Challa, but we have to stand by our tradition and go with Killmonger.
Yeah. Um. Okay, so this is when the Queen goes to look for Nakia. This is Lupita Nyong'o, who we have not seen in the movie. They take a long time to show her, and for a second, I'm like, is she in this movie? I'm like, I don't even remember if she was in the trailers. I'm like, is she in this movie? And then
Lupita.
we see Lupita, who is
What?
more
Wait, how'd you say that?
Lupita. Lupita. Is it Lupita?
Lupita. It's Mexican.
Or
It's Lupita.
uh, well, anyway, she's I think one of the best working actresses today. I love her in everything that she's done.
This is my. You said Michonne's character was your favorite, like was like one of your favorites. Lupita in this is just phenomenal. The way she just
She's
plays
great.
it off.
She's great in this movie. So she's in Haiti. They reveal why she's in Haiti later on, which I was hoping for. The whole movie, I'm like, there's got to be a reason. I said, I think I know the reason why she's there, and the reason why they revealed it, and it is awesome, and we'll get to it. Um, but she's been there since the blip. Namor shows Shuri his vibranium enriched sort of underworld kingdom where everybody does this. They do the sky selenite thing. They do that. I kept thinking,
Talocan,
yeah,
Talocan.
I kept thinking about that.
I was
Uh,
thinking, no, Sky Seven Nights thing is some weird fucking.
it's like this. It's this. That's his, and then theirs is that, which is it's very similar. There's a
It
guy that
feels
looks like
like
him in this
I'm
movie,
playing like Street Fighter. Like, who did
right?
I'm
Or
trying to
like,
Hadouken?
yeah. Um, but this scene is great. This is a great scene because they make their version of Atlantis, which it's Atlantis. They don't call it Atlantis, but it's Atlantis from the comic books. But I
It's
love
not
that they
Atlantis.
changed it. It's Atlantis. This
It's
is
not.
it's Namor's Atlantis. You
It
can
is
call it,
Talocan.
you could say what it is, but in terms of comic book lingo, this is Namor's Atlantis, which it was in the comic book stage. They've changed the names, uh, obviously.
Okay, hold on.
You
And I
you got
don't
Gabe's gonna
do.
try to school me about
No,
comic books, but I'm telling you,
no.
it's Atlantis.
I'm
They changed the
I'm not
name,
gonna fill you in about the comic books because this. Here's the thing: is this is not comic book canon. All right.
and I'm
So
saying they changed it.
Yeah, but Atlantis is a lost city. Atlantis it is a European city that was lost in the middle of the ocean and obviously in
Right,
the
which
Atlantic. Okay,
we're gonna get to. They changed that
so
for this movie.
Talocan is no Atlantis. It was never a city on Earth that was like above seawater that fell into water. Talocan was built
Right.
underwater.
It's built underwater. We get into it in this scene where Namor's pretty much gives his backstory about his mom, and it's awesome. The way it's filmed is great. It's riveting and emotional. And the birth of Namor with the little winged feet, it's great. I like that they put it in the movie. I was wondering, I'm like, how's that going to translate? It's kind of goofy because he's got it in the comic books, but comic books are comics. Uh, but they make it kind of look scary with his little winged feet. Uh, but they give him the perfect backstory. And immediately here is where I said to myself, oh, Namor is one of the best Marvel villains we've seen in a very, 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 very long time. Well, Green Goblin was great in No Way Home, but they cheated a little bit, right? Like we've seen that version of the character before.
Right.
But Namor is awesome. I'll let you talk about it because I feel like you connected with the Namor stuff a bit more. So, what did you feel about this whole scene? Give me your take, everything you took from it. Uh, Go ahead.
So for me, right, Namor his backstory, right, was basically was basically so, sorry, it just chokes me up a little bit thinking about this. So basically, Namor's backstory was his mother was pregnant while Mexico or the Yucatan or Mesoamerica was being colonized by the Spaniards, right? So the way it started is these everybody was dying of the diseases that the Europeans brought in. Smallpox was a big one, and they even showed it. They showed a guy dying with all like the stuff on it, and so the leader of that, prayed to the Aztec and the Mayan gods. Because let's get one thing straight, right? What they did here is they combined Aztec mythology with Mayan mythology, and they
Right.
made it one. So they took from both, which is great. So they prayed to the Mayan god or the Aztec god, and they led them to the heart shaped flower or whatever the fuck it's called,
Right.
right? They drink the same fluid, and it developed characteristics where they couldn't breathe on land anymore. They went under the water, and they created Talocan. Now, he has a perfect line: is that when he was born with the pointy ears and the wings. And he says, and he calls himself a mutant. He was like, because I was a mutant. And so as soon as he said that, I swear to God, my eyes opened wide. I like gasped, and I looked at Jeff, and I was just like, he's a fucking first mutant in the MCU, and it's a fucking Mexican. I was like, this is fucking awesome.
It was
Like
cool.
the first mutant in the MCU, and we've talked about X Men and mutants. We've talked about this on the show, and how I always turn to X Men because of their inclusivity, right? And they have wide variety of races and whatever. Anyways, so he calls himself a mutant, and then he says his mother dies, and this was to me was heartbreaking, right? His mother dies, and her final wish was to be buried in her own city where she lived as a young girl.
Right.
Um, and so they go. And when they go there, what do they find? They find that the city has been colonized already.
And everybody's
Um,
pretty much enslaved. Like it's
all
a
his,
horrible sight. Yeah.
which is why Namor hates or Kuku Clan, right? Because I'm gonna call him right now by his Mayan name, Kuku Clan. Why he hates Earth or America or humans in general is because they have enslaved his people like his mother, um, and they were burning things up. Anyways, Namor got his name because the priest looked at him and they're like, "What the hell is he?" And basically, Namor means he's like sin amor. They're like, you were like born sin amor, and that means an English translation means without love. In Spanish, you say that fast, it sounds like Namor. So sin amor, Namor. You get the N and the sin and then the amor. Anyways, um, but yeah, oh my god, dude, that was just like the best like opening, the best origin story for me from all these characters.
Yeah, no, I thought it was effective and emotional, and it didn't come across cheap. And I feel like some things in this phase and some of the movies have come across very sort of bland, and
This
I don't know, but I
this
feel like
didn't come off
they really nailed it.
as bland. They really nailed it. And there's a current theme. And I don't know if you picked up on it, and I don't know. We could just wait until the end of the show to sort of say it. But there's a current theme um, in this movie that I guess we'll talk upon and touch upon later. But that's Namor's backstory is part of that current theme, and he
Right.
says it later
And
on.
it ties into Shuri too. They go on a very similar journey, although she takes a different path.
Right.
Um, okay, so they show Namor's backstory. It's awesome. Um, so um, Nakia saves Riri and Shuri, and they head back to Wakanda. The only issue is uh, Namor. One of the girls, is this his cousin? This is his cousin. They get shot,
Yeah,
right?
Namora.
Okay, Namor gets shot. She shot.
No, no, no.
A
I'm
very
sorry. They didn't shoot Namora. They shot like one of like the fruit bringers. I don't know
Yeah,
what
yeah,
she
yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So Namor's like, okay, they fucked up. I'm gonna go to Wakanda and I'm gonna send them a message. So he goes there pretty much with his whole army. Namor retaliates. He attacks against the capital of Wakanda. This is where the queen. It's a riveting scene because at this point I thought, oh, is this the battle? Is this what's gonna happen? But no, it's pretty much Namor going, I'm gonna fuck you up, and then I'm gonna come back in a week and I'm gonna fuck you up again. But the queen saving Riri drowns to death. And I was like, no, because I did not
Right.
think they would have killed her off. I said, there's no way. But man, it's sad. And I think Angela Bassett brought so much to this role. She didn't need to do as good of a job as she did because let's face it, these are comic book movies. I mean, she is one of the greatest actresses of all time. Even if she phoned it in, it would have been better than most actresses could have ever delivered to that role. But she doesn't. She delivers a awards caliber performance. And I think a nomination could go her way in the best
Right.
supporting actress race because Black Panther was nominated for best picture. It really was. I mean, it had a fair chance at winning too in 2018. So or 2019. So I
Listen,
thought it was great.
just Joaquin Phoenix won for the Joker. Heath Ledger won for the Joker. And so why wouldn't we get Angela Bassett for best actress for playing you
She
know
didn't play the Joker.
playing the Queen? I
Um,
guess so, right? I guess you gotta be a white man playing the Joker to win an Oscar for a comic book movie.
um, but yeah, this is Namor vows to return in a week, and so the everybody in Wakanda relocates to the Jabari Mountains for their safety. Shuri is filled with rage at this point. She's hell bent on revenge. It's a very
She
similar arc to what T'Challa went through when his
right,
father died in Civil War. And this is emotional stuff. And even M'Baku, who is this just beast of a guy, who is just like, I don't fuck around, I'm gonna fight, is like, he even tells her, like, hey, you're kind of like on this path that you don't want to be on. Like, if that guy's telling you that, hey, maybe you're in a dark place right now. Um, Meanwhile, Ross, uh, he's arrested. This is the character Martin Freeman plays. He helped them in the
right.
first movie. He's the CIA agent. Turns out his ex-wife is Valentina Allegra, who is the leader of the Thunderbolts. We've seen a little bit of her. It's Julia Louis-Dreyfus. We've seen her throughout these movies. She's getting a bigger role. She'll be in the Thunderbolts movie. She'll be leading that team. Uh, so that's cool. I mean, their scenes are fun. They don't really add anything for me personally, but they're fun enough. Um, so yeah, this is where he uses the bracelet that the that it whose bracelet was it? Was Shuri's
It was
bracelet,
Shuri's.
right? It was
Yeah.
Shuri's bracelet made by the fibers of the herb that gave Namor's people super abilities. Uh
Well, she uses Namor's mom's bracelet that to get the vines from
this
for
is
for like his
yes.
DNA.
So Shuri reconstructs the heart-shaped herb and she ingests it. And this is where she gains the abilities of the Black Panther. But she also goes to the ancestral plane, but she does not see her brother, she does not see her dad or her mom. She sees her cousin. She sees Killmonger, which I didn't expect this. I
I
actually didn't.
I
I
didn't
didn't know.
expect it when she turns that corner and sees who's on the throne, and it's freaking Michael B. Jordan, like leg propped up on the armchair, like looking suave as hell. I was like, man, that has to be the coolest surprise that was kept a secret. I made a secret to me. Like I didn't see anywhere on any news media outlet that Michael B. Jordan was doing this.
They kept us a good secret, I think, man. I think they really did because he collaborates with Ryan Coogler a lot. I like, yeah, it's kind of a no brainer, but I'm like, how would they bring that character back? But they bring him back in a great way, where he represents that anger and the rage that Shuri is feeling, and
Right,
she wants to do to Namor what she's felt. Um, so Shuri gains the powers. She dons a new Black Panther suit, which is badass. I thought it was really cool. Uh, and she's accepted by the other Wakandans. And I think that's a great sequence. They're all like cheering her on. The
right,
music is swelling. Ludwig Göransson's score in this is just as good as the first movie. It's a different kind of score. Again, it's very somber, but
right.
the triumphant moments are still triumphant. So I thought that was really cool. Um, and then so despite M'Baku urging for peace, Shuri's determined to exact vengeance on Namor for her mother's death. I mean, obviously, right? So she orders a counterattack on Namor, and they're preparing for the battle. Ao resumes the role of general. Shuri bestows the Midnight Angel armor to Oike, uh, who in turn recruits Dora. Oh yeah, Anika joins her, and they both wear the suits, which is really cool armor that she develops. And then Riri creates a new sort of exo exoskeleton Iron Heart suit that she has, which is again cool. It's an upgraded version of what she had, made with the vibranium, obviously. And then this is where we get they board that vessel and they lure Namor and his warriors to the surface, and it's an awesome fight. It's a really cool fight.
Right, on the warship.
Yeah, they really, really, really cool. And you get those great moments. Again, nothing feels cheap. And I feel like the past few MCU battles have felt kind of cheap and unrewarding and just like cool eye candy, and that's it. And this could have gone that way. I mean, I saw it go that way with Black Adam, where it's just really cool fight scenes, and then I forget it in a week. This movie I thought had really cool stuff and great payoff too. So we
Right.
get that fight there, uh, and they trap Namor onto the ship, and Shuri is waiting there. Uh, and then oh yeah, this is where this is where Shuri and him battle. She traps on the aircraft, intending to dry him out and weaken him. That's something that they find out. Like they need to dry him out that way he can't breathe. Um, and they crash in this desert beach and they fight. And this fight is brutal. I really like this fight. I thought it was great. I thought it was pound for pound, just like
One of the best Marvel
one
fights
of the
for
best Marvel
sure.
fights. Just really, really cool, man. But Shuri gains the upper hand, but this is where she realizes the similarities between the two. She has that redemption. This is that moment. It's very similar to her brother in Civil War, where the path that she's going on is not the right path. And she could have exacted her revenge on him. She chooses not to. She doesn't want to seep to Namor's level. Um, what did you think about all this, man? This is real. I think this is great payoff. Everything they did here was really, really good payoff.
It was. It was a really cool payoff. Like you said, it's one of the best fights for an MCU. Endgame obviously had head and shoulders above most of every single fight in MCU, right? Is it Endgame? Yeah, it was Endgame, I think. Anyways, um, when you see the ship and the how big the ship is, and you seeing all of all the residents, of you know just going up the ship and just climbing the ship, trying to get at the Wakandians, and then you see, all them fighting. You see, and his name is Atuma, by the
Oh
way.
no, you're freezing up there, Gabe. Oh, you're back. There you go.
And am I okay?
Oh,
Um,
he's gone again.
wait, am I?
You're back.
The guy's
Kind
name
of.
is
I don't know.
the guy's name is Atuma.
Okay.
Hello, did you hear me?
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know.
Are
You're
you good
telling.
now? Say something.
I don't know. You're telling me that I'm freezing out.
Am I
Am I
freezing out or
freezing?
are you freezing out?
I don't know. I think I'm good.
Okay. One of us is freezing out. I don't know who. But you were talking about the payoff to the fight from earlier.
Yeah, I was just
Yes.
saying it was
Sorry.
just a great fight. It's just a great fight.
No, it really was. It was awesome. I agree with you. Sorry, like you were freezing. I'm like, what's going on right now? Am I freezing? Is he freezing? But I agree with you. I thought every fight in this was awesome, but the third act battle is as strong as the end game battle. I thought
Right.
it really is. It's brutal but fun. It gives you those triumphant moments. Ironheart is really cool. She has some fun stuff going on there. Um, but it's really that battle that you're talking about that's a payoff to the original to the fight from the beginning in the bridge, and then Namor and Shuri going at it. Um, Namor accepts this peaceful alliance, and he's kind of had this awakening himself. He like that's what makes him great as a villain in this. And Namor's always been an anti-hero. Like he's not really good. He's not necessarily bad. In the comic books, he's teamed up with the Illuminati, the X-Men and stuff. So I thought within his character, they did such a good job of portraying that. He's not necessarily an evil person. He's never been that way. He's just very hell bent on vengeance. But he accepts this, and I know his cousin is kind of upset about this. She's like, "Why
Namora,
would you do
yeah.
this?" Yeah, and he assures her that, like, "Hey, with this new alliance, one day, us and the Wakandans, we can conquer the surface world because obviously they see that we're very powerful. Otherwise, why would she let me live?" So,
Also, he says
in
something
a
like well, the Wakandians don't have any friends.
yes,
They have
everybody's
they
against them. We're their
everybody's
only ally.
against them. We're their only ally, and they're gonna need us. And so that's a very powerful message, and there's a lot of very powerful messages. And I'm nobody's watching right now. There's only one viewer, and that's probably me. Um, but that powerful message is about race, right? And the message that's coming across is black and brown people, black people, brown people need to unite. We just
We
need to
should.
unite
Every,
against the common enemy. Who's that common enemy? The colonizers. And that's basically what he's getting at. I mean, since we're ending
right.
the end of this, I'm just gonna flat out and say it. This entire movie is about that from the very beginning. It's about what resources can France, the Americans, steal
Right.
from these countries to get more power. And you saw it with France trying to breaking out into the Wakandan outreach. You know, you see it in
They show you in the
Namor's.
flashback. The flashback, it's very like prominent. Like it's right in front of you. Yeah, you're totally right.
Right, you see it in Namor's flashback when while he was created. You see it with I forget her name, the Seinfeld chick.
Oh, Julia Louis Dreyfus. Yeah.
Yes, where Martin Ross has a real cool line. Could you imagine what the world would do with vibranium? And she's like, yes. She's like, I think about it every night. I dream about it. Like she was orgasmically thinking about that. So the
Right.
theme that I got from this movie was just exactly that. This movie was showing you colonialism at its favorite against minorities.
Yeah.
So and
Minorities come together, we can rule the world.
we could.
um, but okay, so I think you're totally right about that. I think the movie handled that very well. It wasn't hitting you over the head, but it's 100% there the entire time. It's there. That's a big thing about this movie. While also honoring the legacy of Chadwick. I thought that there was a
Right.
way they could have gone with this where it was distasteful and we see CGI Chadwick Boseman. That would have been terrible. I would not be interested in that. They do not do that here. They make an honest to God great film. Uh, okay, so after the Namor stuff, Riri returns back to MIT. She has to leave her suit behind because no way Shuri was going to let her take that. But she does fix her car for her.
Her
She's able to
charger.
take that. Yes, which is a really cool car. It's badass. Um, so Ross is rescued from captivity because he was arrested, and he's rescued obviously because he's a great guy and he helped the
Treason.
Wakandans. Um, but in Shuri's absence, because she does not want to take the throne, she denies, like she doesn't want it. M'Baku challenges for the throne, uh, which is cool. Good on that dude. He's always wanted it.
Dude, I
um,
wouldn't even mess with M'Baku. Like,
no,
you want to transfer? Here you go. Take it.
I honestly loved that character. I love that actor and everything I see him in. He is just awesome. The character's great. I love what they did with the character in this sequel. It's like this, sort of like an uncle at this point, like
But just to circle back again, when he knew he wanted peace with these people was when they flood Wakanda, right? And then he gets into a fight with a Tuma, right? Tuma
right.
comes in right in that freaking whale, and he jumps out, and a Tuma just punches him in that
And he
metal
just,
vest,
yep,
and it just breaks with just like
shatters, and he's
one
thrown
punch. It
back.
shatters and throws him back. He's like, I want peace. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
he's just
good.
like, I don't know about these guys. Um, so yeah, I mean, we get to this moment where Shuri visits Nakia in Haiti, and I'm like, she burns her robes, which she refused to do at the beginning. Her mom wanted her to burn her
Traditional.
a
Right.
traditional.
She was anti-traditional at the beginning.
Yes. And she visits Nakia, who said, I have a place for you in Haiti. And this whole time, I'm thinking, man, it would be great if they brought in an aspect, which I think they should, and I hope they do. And they fooled me because by the end of this movie, they never mention it. I'm like, are they going to fucking do it? Because it's a great payoff, and it explains why she was absent this entire time. And they do pay it off because Shuri burns the robes. We get the great Rihanna song, which I thought was great. "Lift Me Up's a great song. I really enjoy what she brought to the soundtrack. The mid-credit scene. This is the only kind of mid-credit scene that I think works in this movie. I don't give a shit about them hyping up other things. The Doctor Doom stuff sounded amazing and awesome, but in hindsight, I'm happy they did not do that. Shuri learns that Nakia had a son with T'Challa, and she's been raising him, keeping him away from the pressure of the throne.
Right.
So T'Challa was well aware of his kid, Nakia, they had a service for him there in Haiti. They know what happened to him. They mourn him over there,
The
and
mother
it
was there.
is her mom was able to meet the child who is also named T'Challa, and this is an emotional moment. This is awesome. The way it is delivered is perfect, and I was hoping for that. That's the scene I was hoping for the entire movie, and they
Right.
gave that to you at the very, very end. And I thought it just tied everything together. It's a very human moment in a film franchise that is just jokes and people punching each other. We got this really amazing and human moment that only Ryan Coogler can deliver. No other director could have directed that scene.
Right.
And I thought it was great, man. I don't know about you, but I think that tied in with all the themes of the movie about family and redemption and tradition made a really great experience. I really enjoyed this.
I did too. Like I've said, I really love this movie. Um, Also, it ties in the child. I caught it on the second viewing, but when the queen Ramonda, whatever,
Yes.
goes to see Nakia,
Yeah.
he's in there. He's the little boy is in the open in that scene, and
Mhm.
like tells her where his mom is at.
Yep.
And I didn't put that until I saw until my second view, and I was like, oh yeah, that's the boy from the beginning.
I thought, I mean, everything they handled with that was so wonderful and was just like really cool. And I wish the Marvel had more scenes like that. Just slow things down, have human moments. They do a little bit of that in No Way Home, but I feel like Doctor Strange, as fun as it was, and Thor, like whatever, I didn't mind it. You need these moments away, like you need to have a consistent tone. What I liked about this movie is it's very consistent in its tone.
Right. I feel like they have two different tones. I feel like Marvel has two different tones. Like for the outer spacey stuff like Guardians and Thor,
It's
they
very
have like
whimsical and fun. Yeah.
very whimsical and very fun, like 80s, vivid colors type theme. And for anything that's down to earth, just rooted in tradition or whatever, like for example, Spider Man,
Right.
Black Panther, we have like a very different type of movies done.
Yeah. I would be so happy if I honestly, I mean, I would love a sequel, but at this point in time, I'm perfectly fine if they end the story here. I mean, they gave us something very complete. Obviously, I want to see Namor continue, whether that's his own movie or Fantastic Four. I think he'll pop in Fantastic Four,
I
but
think
I don't.
Namor should get his own movie, but that's just
I
my
think
Mexican
no,
bias.
I don't think you're alone. I think a lot of people are asking for that after seeing the movie. They love Namor. They love that character. Um, Beautifully acted. Everything about Namor was really, really cool. I think this is the tone of what Marvel should be moving towards. I like the fun stuff, but I think you can level it out, and I think you should. And I think all their movies should look like this. I think you should shoot on real sets with real actors, real locations, no CGI backgrounds and stuff. They should really. I know that pandemic kind of forced them to make movies that way, but let's go back to shooting on location because this movie looks beautiful. It's emotional. I think it is my favorite of this phase. I don't know. How would you rank the movies? Because I think you loved Shang-Chi, didn't you? So that would be Shang-Chi. That would be No Way Home. That would be Black Widow. That would be Shang-Chi, No Way Home, Black Widow, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Doctor Strange, and Thor: Love and Thunder. So I guess where would you rank this movie amongst all those?
First,
I think I'm with you. I think this movie would hold
I
up better than No Way
it,
Home.
it's gonna hold up better than No Way Home. I I've seen it twice already, and both times I was emotionally invested in it. For some reason, just Black Panther franchise just emotionally invests me. Like when I rewatched Black Panther on Wednesday, it's probably like my 20th time rewatching it, and it just still hit from like the beginning when the king kills his brother and leaves. Like it just Killmonger. Like that one just still hits. I watched this one on Saturday, and I'm like, all right, it still hits. So something about this definitely still is really good. So I've got to put this one Wakanda first. Probably Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah, you love
Bec-
that one.
I did, and only because of the Sam Raimi horror connection to it.
Yeah,
I thought that worked really well. No Way Home probably gonna be third, followed up by Shang-Chi,
right.
Thor: Love and Thunder, and then I'm missing two, right?
Black Widow, I think. Yeah, I think that's it.
The Black Widow will come in last, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think I'm with you. I think this one holds up more. I like No Way Home a lot. I loved it the first time I saw it. But I think upon second viewing, I don't know if it's a movie that holds up as much besides the stuff that you already know, the big reveals, which is great. That stuff's awesome. But I think Black Panther is thematically resonant and just really well constructed. I have a couple of gripes with the movie. Runtime isn't one of them. I know a lot of people are really turned off by the runtime. I didn't feel it. I thought it went
I
by like
did
10.
not. I thought it went by so quick. I saw it was like 2:42 hours and 45 minutes. I'll just say three
I don't
three
feel it.
hours. I did not. I was like, that's it. It's done. Like
Yeah,
what?
no, I thought it went by fast. I really love the tone in this. Like again, I think it's beautifully directed. I think we should never doubt Ryan Coogler again. He's pretty much 4 for 4 now in my book. I mean, the guy is the real deal. So, this one, I would say, I guess, No Way Home at number two, and then Doctor Strange, which I really enjoyed. I didn't love as much as you, but I feel like I got to rewatch it. And number three, the third act battle with Zombie Strange is just, I mean, come on. And then Shang-Chi. Black Widow, I liked more than most people. I love the stuff with the family and David Harbour.
Mhm.
And then I guess Thor: Love and Thunder at that final spot. Oh, we forgot about Eternals. Eternals is in this too. Oh, Eternals is probably last for me.
Last.
I
Yeah.
didn't like Eternals, and I know a lot of people. There's a lot of people that did love it. I didn't, and that's another movie that is beautifully shot on location, really well directed. I did not give a shit about any of those characters besides Angelina Jolie. That was it.
I completely forgot I watched Eternals last
I
year.
forgot about that movie until this moment. But I enjoyed Shang-Chi. I think the first half is stronger than the second half. I love the stuff with the kung fu, the Jackie Chan moments that are
Which
amazing.
now, I was it 2 years later?
Yeah.
They're saying that movie's racist.
Really?
Yep.
I don't know. I thought it was funny. I really liked the cast in that movie. I think the ending goes into MCU territory a little too much, like basic territory, but I enjoyed it a lot.
Right.
Jay, what's up, man? And he's got his ranking here. I'm gonna pull it up real quick.
No
No
Way
Way Home,
Home.
Wakanda Forever, Eternals are my three favorites from Phase Four. See, I told
There
you.
you
I
go.
mean, Eternals
We
is
got an
very
Eternals
split.
favorite.
Yeah,
It's
it's
very
very
split.
much. There's two camps you're in. Uh, but again, I really like the way that movie shot. I hope from now on, please use real locations because it helps the movie. Um.
It does. I just want to touch on something real
Oh yeah, go
quick.
ahead.
Because on social media, there's been a lot of talk about Shuri being Black Panther. Obviously from places out in the web. And I think I mentioned to you this when Chadwick died, right? With like days, I was like, if you follow Black Panther comic canon, right, in the comic books, Shuri always takes up the mantle after T'Challa.
She takes. There's points where he can't. I believe he's like wounded or sick, and she does take over the
Right.
mantle. And
So
yeah,
I'm
that's in line with it.
Yeah, so I'm glad that they took that because obviously there's a lot of people that were saying, "Oh, who else is going to be Black Panther? They're going to bring back Killmonger and make him Black Panther. He didn't really die." I'm just glad that they followed comic book canon for
That
her
would
for
be
that lineage.
horrible if Killmonger. I like that character. I love Michael B. Jordan, but that would be a horrible idea. And I saw the internet was all about that. No, because the things he did, I mean, he really can't come back from that. Like he did some pretty terrible things. But I love the idea of Shuri taking up the mantle, and again, this message about family and destiny and redemption, all told, woven together, just perfectly. And I think Ryan Coogler was the guy to make this movie. He was meant to make these. It's awesome, and I know it's not working for everybody. Again, it's a really somber movie. It's a downer until you get to those really redemption and triumphant moments. It's kind of got a downer tone, and the fact
It
that
does.
Chadwick did die in real life kind of adds to it. Where you're like, man, this is like tough. This is kind of tough to really watch because Holy shit, this thing is like glitching out. Let me move this away. Um, but I really enjoyed this thing. I think this is one of the best comic book movies of the year. In a year where I felt like everything's sort of been okay. This is 100% top tier. This is I really enjoyed this a
This
lot.
is this is what I wish, and I know DC is gonna look at this right now. I know James Gunn comes from Marvel, and I just want DC to look at what happened here with Wakanda Forever. Be like, we need our own Wakanda. We need our own movie like this. Because obviously Black Adam, that's not it. Black Adam got stuck, probably got written in 2008, and that's what they shot was a script from 2008, and Black
100%.
Adam did not work at all.
Right. It's a hit. It made money, but it made as much money as most Dwayne the Rock Johnson movies. Made 70 million opening weekend, did decent, but sort of kind of disappeared after that. I don't know anybody that's seen it other than us too. But hey, it made money. It made money overseas. People like it. Fans seem to be happy with the idea of the Henry Cavill stuff. So I know we didn't like it. We both found it to be kind of lazy. But I agree with you. I think DC should take a page out of this book of hey, you can make interesting things still with these comic book characters. Even if people say there's some kind of superhero fatigue, I don't know if there really is. I mean, sometimes I think there is, but then box office tells me otherwise because this movie made
There is.
nearly 200 million.
You and I talked about this that we both sort of have it a little bit, um, especially when you see like Black Adam.
Yes, where
You
it's
know,
just cotton candy action. And you're like,
yeah,
oh, oof. Like, yeah,
yeah, and you're just like, okay, when you see the same freaking energy source in the middle of the city, and you're like, okay, that's the
that's the big beam in the sky, the energy
the
of
big beam
bullshit.
in the sky. That's the bad. I mean, how many times we got to see that? Like that shit's done and over with. Like that's why I say that script was written in like 2008, and they left it like that.
This keeps highlighting his comment. I don't know what's going on. Am I on something?
Oh,
All
there
right.
it goes again.
I don't know what's happening. Anyway, but yeah, I really enjoyed this. I think this ranks high in the current. Well, I guess this is the end of the phase. Um, but I thought they ended it on a great note. More of this from Marvel would be great. Just
More of
give
this.
us really good character-driven stories, and this is all character-driven, from
Right.
Namor to Shuri. Everybody in this matters, and
Give
it
us
was
the
a hell of a time.
Namor Sue Storm story.
It's gonna happen. They must. Hey, if Namor, who's really hot in this movie, if he's gonna steal Sue Storm or attempt to, because he's in love with her, but it's very one-sided. Uh,
Two, but in Planet was it Planet 233 or 33 something? They do get together.
Yeah, hey, so his dreams come true, but you need my point is you got to cast somebody incredibly good looking as Reed Richards, because at this point this guy is just he's the total package. A lot of movie star charisma here in that role. Really did love everything with Namor. I know you were out of the world in love with everything with Namor, so I think Namor was a success, changing all the things they changed about him with Atlantis and in the comic books he kind of looks Asian. I looked like a white Asian man to
Well,
me.
that's what the comic book is weird, right? Because he has a widow's peak.
He had a
He's
widow's
not
peak.
completely white. He has black hair. He looks a little tan.
Looks
So it's
yeah,
like
he's got kind of an Asian sort of features.
Asian
You don't
features,
know
like
what
some
he
sort of
is. Like
minority,
they
right?
he's very different. He's very different looking.
But I think they
Um
do. I think one of the reasons why they changed it is never mind, not because they wanted to bring Mesoamerica into it. I think it's because it would have been too close to Aquaman and his
yes,
origins.
the Pacific Islander sort of thing. Which here
Right.
it's like let's give Namor a real identity. Wakanda has a real identity. It would be more interesting if we give this character an actual identity because then you see the class of culture, which it makes for a great storytelling in
Right.
this.
It makes
Um,
for black versus browns fighting. That's what everybody wants to see.
That's
Is
what
the
everybody
black
wants to see.
people and the brown people fighting, and then at the end, we're like, yeah, you know what? We're not gonna fight for nobody's entertainment. Let's
Let's
just be
dominate.
unity.
Let's dominate. We got
Let's
something that they
dominate.
all want.
We're gonna unite. Let's unite. Black and brown unite. Black and brown love.
But no, man, I really did enjoy this. I thought it was wonderful storytelling. I think it's gonna kill at the box office. I know it doesn't have China, but that's fine.
Okay, do you know why it doesn't have China?
Well, because of the very, very tiny, tiny, tiny
Fucking little gay ass like, and I'm not saying gay ass like in a bad way, but I'm saying like the little gay little scene that they have where it's the two beautiful black women like, are you gonna go fight, my love? And like touches her
And
head
she
and
just
like,
touches her head, and that's the reason why
right,
it
like
gets banned.
legit, just like, are you gonna like, be safe, my love? And like touches her head.
Which is
Oh
why
my god,
Marvel is very scared at just fully committing to like when people are gay.
like fucking
Like in Doctor Strange, it's like, oh, America Chavez has two mothers, but they don't really commit to it. It's like the two moms are holding hands. That's really it. Like that's as far as they're
well, they
willing to go.
fully committed in the Eternals when freaking Paperboy
That's
kisses.
true. See, this is how I forget that movie so much. Because they give us a full on kiss in that movie.
Right.
Give
No,
us a
you
full
can't
on.
forget Paperboy kissing another man.
Yeah, yeah. Brian Terry Henry is great in that movie. Another highlight of that film that I feel like forgot about because I
Between
wasn't big on.
him, Angelina Jolie, and the small role that Selma Hayek got, but she made the most out of it. Like those were like the three standouts.
Right.
Like the dudes from Game of Thrones was like, eh.
It's an interesting movie. It's really interesting. It's got more going on than most Marvel movies, but I just think the execution just wasn't there for me. Um and clearly, hey, Marvel took a swing because they loved that movie. They loved making that movie. They let Chloe go ahead and go, hey, make whatever you want, which is cool because they don't give that reign of
Yeah, but
sort of
see,
creativity to anybody.
but that's what Marvel. I mean, this is why I sometimes get upset at Marvel and like Kevin Feige is because of that, right? There's directors that he just lets them do whatever the hell they want and he stays out of the way, right? James Gunn was one, Ryan Coogler,
Yes.
the chick that you just said, the director you just said from Eternals.
From Eternals, and then she made oh man, what's the movie? One Best Picture. Frances McDormand.
Norman
uh,
Land.
No Man Land. Yeah, she won Best Picture
Um,
for No.
like those three directors are the ones that come to mind that he just lets whatever. I'm gonna go off do my own thing, and you guys do whatever you want and just give me a movie. And there's other directors and there's like the TV shows that Kevin Feige is just like right on top of them at all times, trying to get them to do it like the Marvel way. Like let's move away from that Marvel way and let's
Fully commit to
these
directors just doing their own thing.
right. They're fully talented directors. Like
I think
just
he cares with how crucial it is. Their little story points, like their check marks of, hey, you got to mention this, you got to do this, you got to do that. I think that's when he's like, no, like because I know Sam Raimi was a guy where he's like, I don't have to worry about Sam Raimi. I'm gonna let him go do
oh yeah, I forgot to
Doctor
add Sam Raimi
Strange,
to that list.
and I'm not gonna even be on set, which is something that was real. Like Sam Raimi got to go do his own thing. He hired him and said, hey, you can do all the crazy camera movements and all the things you love to do, and I'll stay out of your way. So, uh, what is up, man?
What's
How's it
going on?
going? What up? Good to see you. But yeah, man, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this movie a ton. I think it ranks high for me in the MCU. Yeah, do a little Namor thing. Uh, in terms of feeling that superhero fatigue, it felt good to come in here, to feel those emotions, to laugh, to be
Cry.
sort of in awe, like, to cry, to feel in awe by the action. Great soundtrack, great score. Love the creative team here. I'm very
I
satisfied with
I
this
think it was like one of the first in a long time, right, where I felt a sense of like amazement, of awe, right? When you see Namor coming down from like from the surface
movie. Right, it's a
down
great
into
shot.
down into his throne, and you see like the jaw, like the shark jawline, right? And you could have killed Jaws right there, right? And he's coming down full fucking Aztec regalia, that head, like that headdress, the fucking Aztec armor, the Aztec, like just the entire Aztec
It's
wardrobe,
great.
and he's coming down. I was legit. I got goosebumps. I was like, "Fuck, man!" Like that's just so. It was like so fucking awesome to see on screen like that.
No, I thought it was. And there's so many scenes in this too that just really stand
Like
out.
that's like implanted in my brain. Like
It's
just to
everything
see
they
that
shot with
Aztec stuff.
Namor is very, very good. And I thought the handling of Namor, I know some people were like, why did they change things? I thought it was for the better. Everything they did with Namor was just really, really cool.
It
Way
is.
better than his appearance here is better than the comic books, the way he's designed. To me, Namor has always been very much like kind of one note, just very angry.
Was it
And sort of
now?
he's a douchebag. But here, not the case. He's fully three dimensional. 100% fleshed out.
Now, I'll let you because you're the comic book guy, right? Like comic book books. Was Namor or was Aquaman first?
Namor's first. Namor's
Namor's first.
1939. Aquaman
Okay.
isn't until the 50s. I don't know the exact year, but I know he was
So
in the
Aquaman was
1950s.
DC's answer to Namor.
Pretty much, but Namor is one of the first Marvel characters when they were called Timely Comics. It's one of the first early comic book characters in terms of the bigger name ones. I mean, Superman uh, was in the early 30s. You had Batman in the late 30s, and Namor was 1939, and then Captain America 1940, 1941. So yeah, he was extremely early on.
But Namor just went to like C status or D list because
Right.
of
I think because of Aquaman, he kind of like resident, but Aquaman kind of had an uphill, or at least a push because of Super Friends, which was a very popular show in the 70s. Marvel also had the original Human Torch, which was in Johnny Storm. In the first Avenger, you could see the original Human Torch's costume on display when they go to that little fair that they go to.
yeah.
Another character I think would be cool to see in the MCU. Um, but Namor's from that sort of period of early kind of sort of Marvel characters. And then he shows up again in Fantastic Four comics in the 60s. So Namor kind of, yeah. Now I would say in the 2000s and in the 90s, certainly, he's very much just this dude he's a piece of shit. uh Kind of just shows up and he's like, I fucking hate service people, fuck you. And then swims off. And then he wants to steal Reed Richards' wife. But then he joins the Illuminati, which that stuff is really cool too.
I want to join the Illuminati, but like the real Illuminati, like
The
one,
real one, yeah,
the
to
real one.
sacrifice and be with Kanye. And that's all I got, man. I really enjoyed this. I thought this was
I think
a fun
Kanye
time.
got kicked off the Illuminati. That's why
I
he's
think he
going
got
off.
kicked off. That's why he's going crazy. Because yeah. I don't know.
No, but
Anything else you want to say before we start wrapping up?
nothing more. Just check out my TikTok. I did a whole thing on Spanish on Namor. So if you speak Spanish, even if you don't, check out the Flopbuster TikTok. I got a whole like 3 minute video talking about Namor in Spanish. Um, and then that's it. Plus our Thursday show that we're gonna go back to. I hope this week.
Oh yeah, Thursday's show's happening this week. That'll be Thursday, and we'll cover the movie news and everything in between, and the box office and all that fun stuff. And that'll be back this Thursday. So that's exciting. We're doing the Thursday show, and then we're gonna do the Christmas episode that's still being worked on, and I'll provide updates and all that. But Thursday show's happening. I'm not sure what we'll talk about. I'm gonna get together the show notes. There's a lot of movies coming out. So expect some cool content from there because there's a ton of movies. We got Devotion, The Fablemans, Strange World, Spirited, all that stuff's coming out
The
within
menu.
the menus this week. Bones and All is coming out as well. Two movies I'm excited. Two genre films that I think look incredible, and I've heard incredible things. So that'll do it for me, man. I'm excited. So that's the Thursday show. Just tune in for that.
Yeah. Just tune in and just find us all on all the social medias on right there and follow us and don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Anything helps.
All those good things. Make sure to hit that
And
like button, guys.
If you see Tony in Arizona, punch him in the face.
Do it. It'll help the show. Maybe it'll
It
get
will
us to
help the show.
600 subs. But thank you guys once again to tuning in, or if you catch up on this later after you see the movie, of course. And we will see you next time.